turmeric powder. No, it is used as an antibiotic, as simple haldi. When there's a wound, the first thing your mother puts is haldi on the wound. It's a good antibiotic. Suppose you are, some business entity in the West formally identifies the quality of turmeric as an antibiotic and applies for a patent. You have to pay royalty to that company to use haldi at home. Okay? Now, this is just an example. Now, the other problems are problems of raising equity capital. Equity capital is, like Mr. Prakash explained, applies to private and public limited companies, wherein you have to build the brand image to find investors to the company. Because Mr. Prakash also highlighted about angel investors and venture capitalists. Now, any business that is started, you will not attract venture capital from investors unless you have a very potential, very unique idea. Because basically, this investor also has a self-interest that he has to make money. He will not, the entity will not want to invest into a business which will ultimately lose. So they study your product, and especially if it is a startup company, unless your idea is so innovative in the beginning itself, it's very difficult to get capital, very difficult to get venture capital or angel investors into investing in your company. Most companies run for some time when they are known to be established, when their products are known to be established, their services are known to be established, then they come to the attention of the venture capitalists, showcase their products, showcase their services, showcase their customers in hand, and then try to bring in the venture capital. Unless it's a very great idea, it's very, very difficult for a startup to get venture capitalists. Then, of course, the problems in getting the raw material, which means, vendors for you, especially if your raw material is, brought in from outside the country. It can be influenced by change in the currency values. You estimate the cost of your product to be, say, 50 rupees, considering that, the current value of dollar is, say, X amount. And suddenly, what we have seen in the last 1 year, the dollar has appreciated by at least about, I can say 20%. 1.5 years, it was around 50 rupees, now it is 66 rupees as of today. So it is, 16 rupees for 50 rupees, around 32% is appreciated, which is a huge value. So, see, in terms of a product company, the raw material can be a physical raw material which you import, and in terms of services company, especially startups, manpower and retaining your manpower is one of the biggest problems. The problem that happens with small companies, the startups, is you will not be able to pay a very high salary for an experienced employee, to get an experienced employee for them to work in your organization. You will probably get freshers, train them on the job, and a couple of years they fly away because of reasons I just mentioned earlier, because they want a better brand, they want to be employees of bigger companies, or probably they want to set up their own industries. So smaller companies always turn out to be, a breeding ground, incubator kind of, places where you constantly take freshers and you train them, and suddenly when you want to actually use their services, they are out because they want better prospects. You can't blame them because, 2-3 years is an average life cycle for any employee today, at least as the job market, especially in the IT market today. If somebody works for 3 years in an organization, you should be really lucky. And of course, problems of obsolescence in the indigenous technology, that is, see, there are so many products which can probably be made in India. You take, for example, dolls. Especially people of Bangalore, when you're traveling between Bangalore and Mysore, Chenapatna, you see that is a major center for making wooden dolls. Now you travel on Mysore Road, you hardly see any dolls displayed outside because they're all Chinese dolls everywhere, much cheaper, much more attractive, more colorful. The kids, you have that rocking horse. It was a very popular Chenapatna doll. Now no kid will play with it. Now no kid will play with a toy unless you can put a battery into that. Every toy has to go with a battery. So Chenapatna toys are out, the Chinese toys are in. Exploitation of small and poor countries. Now, the same thing. If you're making a product, or if you are offering a service completely yourself, with your own unique idea, with your own self, it is fine. Then of course you have to fight and compete with the bigger vendors. But if you are a reseller or if you are a partner for an international vendor, because you belong to a much, what you call, within quotes, the third world. So typically India today is not a third world country, but typically our economy is. We still are sorry to say that. So we are still seeing that a person who is paid say $8,000 in the West will probably get 8,000 rupees in India. A lot of disparity. So which means if you are a vendor for a foreign product, if your entrepreneurship depends upon servicing or reselling a product made in a developed country, you actually are under the control of a bigger entity. So this is, I can say, this is also one of the problems that the entrepreneurs face. You are practically dictated by the terms and conditions, the commission that you earn, or the margins that you make are totally dictated by the larger country, which is basically a Western country or any country which makes it outside India. Can I go to the next one, please? Okay. Now, of course, the last point from the previous slide, the financial challenges, difficulty in borrowing funds. Financial challenges are a lot different in India, especially for startups. When you are starting out as an entrepreneur, you are not out for venture funding, but try to go with funding from small and medium business partners or investors. So which means, now as I mentioned earlier, in most cases, startups with average ideas, average innovativeness, will not really attract venture capitalists. So basically, either they have to go with their own funds, or they have to involve passive partners, which means partners who don't actually take part in your business, but who are ready to invest for a benefit. So they may not know the business model of your business at all. They may be, they will just think that, okay, instead of lending out money or keeping my money in the bank, if I earn around 9% per annum, if I invest in this company, maybe I can take 20% back, or I can take 25% So unless you have the capability or the capacity to, convince such investors, getting the funds for, the startups is very difficult. Secondly, we say bank loans. Yes, bank loans are there. Mr. Prakash said, okay, you will have to have a proper, way of approach to the bank. But still, when you approach a bank for a loan with a new idea, what first they look at is, what is the collateral that you can offer? What is the property that you can pledge? Because we don't know whether your company is going to take off. Because no bank will finance unless their funds are secure in one way or the other. So the banks always look at some kind of a security. Either they don't mind lending out crores of rupees for an established company, but for startups, they definitely want some sort of a security, some sort of a collateral, without which you cannot get the funding. Now, the need of the hour. Mentorship. Now, what is mentorship? Mr. Prakash, he said so much about his own business, and he even offered you, if you want any help outside this session, he is ready to help you, which means he has offered you his mentorship. He has offered you his guidance in terms of mentoring you about your business, or if you ask him probably tomorrow, day after, if you take his night idea and right away, definitely he will oblige, or probably even I will oblige to help you out about the process of setting up a company or the hurdles that you are probably going to face. Now the major challenge is to find a mentor. Because, see, once I walk out of this dais, get back into my office, I have my own problems. The first of the month is nearing, just 3-4 days away. We have to pay our salaries, we have to pay our rents, we have to pay our bank interest, EMI cycles will start. So, the entrepreneurs who are successful, they hardly have the time to mentor the upcoming entrepreneurs. Now, this is the actual need of the hour. So to say, the institutions like this are doing a really phenomenal job by trying to get some experienced business people, experienced entrepreneurs to come and talk to students, come and talk to the, the people who are interested in setting up small businesses. Now, this is actually the need of the hour. The most important thing is, because, bookish knowledge will definitely not make you an entrepreneur. It is probably how much of information you have gathered today in the last maybe 1.5 to 2 hours. The amount of knowledge that you can probably get by reading books or going through any other material will probably take 2 to 3 months. See, unless you can probably find some mentors, or the mentors volunteer to share their experiences, share their views, it is very difficult for the upcoming entrepreneurs to really make it. So, can we go to the next? Okay, let me just, in the line of the conversation, in the line of the talks, what Mr. Prakash told you before me, and trying to fit in points in my career into those exact way, in the exact order. Linux Learning Center is a small company. We have around 40 employees. It was founded in the year 99. Now, Why Linux Learning Center? Linux, I know as computer software application people, all of you know, is a free and open source software. This free and open source software movement started back in 1984 with Richard Stallman and came a long way. Linus Torvalds, an young 19-year-old Finnish student, wrote this software in 1991. I am sure most of you will know what is open source. Open source is about, sharing the source, sharing the core of the technology, not concealing the source, but giving it out with the compiled or the final product so that somebody else, the user or the future generations can innovate and build upon that particular product. Now, how are the current applications and the products built on that? It's something like water. Open source is like water. Okay? You go to the river, it's free. But if you want it on the railway platform, it costs you 10 rupees. So there's a value addition. And you call it distillery water, you call it Aquafina water, you call it n number of names. So Linux is free. You have Red Hat Linux, you have SUSE Linux, you have Mandrake Linux, you have so many flavors of Linux. So which means anything that is free, you add value to it according to what the customer requires or according to what the market requires. And that is the value addition that you are giving, that is the margin that you are making. The timing that we started Linux Learning Center, Mr. Prakash gave you a chart where he indicated the percentages. The timing scored 44%. Why Linux Learning Center for me became successful? Because I introduced that